or to give us?
Roll it.
Roll up, okay. Hello, everyone. I'm going to call the August Culver Redevelopment Commission meeting to order. I had to think about that for a second. Let's start by putting our phones on mute. You join me in doing that. I'll also make the announcement that this meeting is being recorded and your participation in this meeting constitutes
Your flashlight's on it.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. Your participation constitutes consent to be part of the rebroadcast of this meeting on the Culver Town YouTube channel. So now, if you would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Do we have Ginny on the phone? No, we don't. Okay, so I will do the roll call then. Jerry Seiler, present. Sally Bichardi.
Here.
Marty Osterman is here. Karen Schumann is here
Present.
representing the schools, and Kevin Danti is here. And not here would be Ginny Monroe and Sarah Jones, both of whom were unable to make our meeting tonight. And that's good. And if we have to be down 2 members, we had some interesting things to talk about today, but nothing too heavy to deliberate. So it's probably, I look forward to that. Okay, so approval of the minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes to review. One is from the May 21st meeting, and the other one is from the July 17th meeting. They were forwarded in advance. I hope you had a chance to take a look at them. All right, I didn't see anything substantive to change. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve both sets of minutes. We do both at one time, right? Both sets of minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the April work session, May 21st, July 17th.
I think I'm going to ask for an amendment of that because I think the April work session was already
Yeah, you're right.
done.
It was.
So I think we're just looking for both the May and the July this time around. That's a misprint on the agenda. It's my fault.
Shame on you, but I'll make a motion to approve May 21st, July 17th.
Thank you, Sally. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Jerry. All in favor of approving the minutes as presented, that signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, let's go to the financial report. Thank you, Karen, for putting that together for us. I'll give us all a quick overview. For July, we had $6,243 in revenues. That's all investment income. We had up to a grand total of $670 in expenses that was approved at that last month's meeting. So our end of July balance is $2,209,780.35. We have approximately $65,000 in dollars that we have approved that have not been paid. So that gives us a balance, spendable balance of $2,144,780. We're doing year to date, we have spent a total of $96,636.80. That's 4% of our possible total spend. So we don't have any budget issues, that's for sure. That's what I've got. Anything you want to add, Karen? Any questions on the financial report? Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the July financials.
I'll make a motion.
Presented. Thank you, Sally. And Jerry, second. All right, thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed. Okay, let's go to the claims to approve for this month. We have a total of $4,138.50. We had an opportunity to take a look at that. All of those expenses except $800. So it's $3,300 of that is for the Lake Fest festival. And then we have $800, $400 monthly for the Lakes Magazine as usual. Are there any questions related to the expenses? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve July expenses. Chair will make that motion. Any seconds? And all in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Good. Let's get into the old business. Retail strategies proposed plan. This is our Main Street master plan that we've been talking about for months and months and months. Today was a really big day for that because earlier today, a group had a 2-hour session with our consultant where we saw the master plan first time, first iteration of the plan. I'll give my comments on it. We haven't had any opportunity to discuss it yet, but just for the record, I would say first blush, I'm pleased with it. I think it's interesting how it connects the Lakeshore Drive area, which is what they're calling uptown where the theater used to be, the Lakeshore zone, I guess, or area with the downtown area. And they're connecting them without trying to combine it. And I think the consultants truly understand Culver. They've demonstrated a lot of expertise throughout the plan, and it's a practical plan. It's geared largely to activating dead space and improving economic activity in the off months here in Culver, shoulder months, which is, I think, a great place to start. So the recommendations are grouped into 4 categories. One is implementation. That's, ordinances, property, vacant properties, grant activity, which of course would involve us here at the CRC. Then there's a second group of recommendations that deal with design. That's sidewalk vibrancy, storefronts, infrastructure, wayfinding. They were fairly complimentary about the wayfinding that he did. They just kind of said it shouldn't be in the street, it should be on the sidewalk where people are walking, right? Yeah, I see, Kevin. I think that was one of the things you said. The third group is tourism and promotion. They have a tagline that's wonderfully cheesy, called Maximize Culver, right? Lake Maximize Culver. And there's a whole lot of ornaments that they're hanging off of that were actually pretty cool. And then there's a fourth group of recommendations dealing with economic vitality. And that's, what you might think, businesses, how to improve businesses, how to expand what we're doing. So the CRC developed Culver. The academies are, of course, the town are major players in this plan. All of us have significant roles. And the consultant will be with us through implementation for the next year to help us get this off the ground and get it going. So where we go from here is we socialize this, right? So you guys, the team here will be able to look at it and poke at it, and as well as some other stakeholders. And then we'll take all that feedback and we'll put it into one group feedback document that we will then go over with the consultant. We'll finalize this plan. We hope to do that in a 30-day time frame, and then we'll go right into implementation. So that's the exciting news on that front. Kevin, you got anything to add? You were part of that today.
I was. One of the things that I really heard was, like Marty said, they understood Culver. And the one thing, there are 3 points, I guess, that they touched upon that indicated to me that they get it. The first one is how special that lake is right out there and how key it is and has been throughout our history for the evolution of Culver. The second thing I think they touched on was rather than a lot of times development and change signals to somebody that they're going to change your small town. That is not what I heard today. What they heard was, let's leverage that. That's your strength. People see Culver as a sanctuary. Everybody that comes back here, it's because it's somewhere that you can shut down and relax. And it's because of that small town culture. How do you enhance that to create a better comfort? The word comfort came out twice today. How do you make it more comfortable for somebody? By building that small town charm. Restore the historical where it's opportunistic, such as Main Street and downtown. Understand that Lakeshore is ready for some changes, for more public gathering space, for sidewalk access. How do you connect the simplicity? It doesn't take somebody that's intelligent to take something simple and make it complicated. It takes somebody that's intelligent to take the complicated and make it simple. That's what I saw today. They took simple actions and showed us how you can scaffold those into larger effects. Very changeable. And it really starts simplistically by the way, your downtown and your lakeshore have always been connected. They put a path right over the lake there. Use the walkway as your connection. Stop thinking of the road and build upon that. That simplicity to me showed me right there they get it. So I'm excited. You have to temper that excitement to get not moving too fast, but getting things started. They gave us some simple steps to get started with, and I'm eager to do that. So it was positive today. Thank you.
Any thoughts, discussion? And I know telling you about it without having to see it, it's, you know,
It's a tease.
I don't know. Yeah, it's like a tease, right? But I couldn't help myself. I had to talk about it. Okay, so second thing, small business, the economic development, Marshall County Economic Development, and the together with the Small Business Administration, are putting together a proposed group of Culver businesses for training purposes. We're trying to figure out what those businesses would like to see, what kind of expertise they'd like to have access to. So we're working with Develop Culver in putting that together. We think it'll take another month to have the agenda, you know, and it'll be a series of meetings for these businesses. We did make some progress in talking with some service businesses in town, so what they look like. So we heard from sellers, we heard from F&H, we heard from Able Maintenance, we heard from Tony Straw, heard from GNS Restoration. They all provided input, and some of their recommendations I thought were exceptionally thoughtful recommendations as to what those businesses need in order to take the next step. We don't have a lot of input yet from the actual retail businesses that is Develop Culver's part of the work, and they are making progress on that. I know they had a call with EDC today on that topic. So I think we're probably about 30 minutes away from that. But I think that will be a real shot in the arm for our local businesses once we're able to execute on that. The Lakeshore Drive and Park Master Planning Study update, I'm going to turn to my good friend Kevin to lead that.
Well, I'm excited because things come together in strange ways, and we have several projects in the field, and they're kind of the infrastructure projects. We just finished the water project. We're heading into wastewater. Sally and I made a nice visit to Topeka, getting that going, and we'll be approaching redevelopment as we initiate that into construction. But we're also simultaneously having living projects. We're getting ready for the next phase. Retail strategies, as Marty mentioned, and I spoke on as one. But as we were preparing for the Lilly grant, Marty and I and some other stakeholders came up with the idea of thinking a little bit larger than just a theater. Our town park is a beautiful thing, but some of the historical elements are in need of some love. The pavilions are very rare for Indiana. They are historical. I can tell you that because the eyes of our friend from Indiana Landmarks got quite large when he saw them, and they're in need of some restoration work. The lighting, the beautiful world, the World Fair, I believe, the year's escaping me. I apologize. I've slept. But is in need of restoration, and it's rare to see that, and it's beautiful along the lakefront. The electrical is, it's underneath that ground, can only be interested. Probably looks like a LA highway map down there. It needs work, the speakers. ADA compliancy, we saw that as an opportunity, creating more access to our community. That beach is the last bastion of public access to the lake, and we have to protect that. The road is in need of some reconfigurement. We know parking is an issue. Pedestrian traffic has been mentioned several times. General improvements, and underneath the ground, there's infrastructure work. With all of that, it just made sense to bottle it and package it into one project, the Lakeshore Corridor. We've introduced it, we spoke about it, but I finally had the opportunity to write the RFQ. Marty's being so kind to pass it through some lenses for revision, and probably is in need of it for my amateur like writing sometimes, but
Actually, it's getting great reviews.
well, thank you. Anyway, putting all that together in one package was really pleasurable for me, because it makes me recognize two things. Number one, how unique that lakefront is, that park. It just beckons to this Edwardian type period to me, this turn of the century still. And I don't know why. It just romantically, it brings that out in me. The second thing I realized, and I coined the phrase inside of it, was that's our front porch. It's the best way of thinking about that Lakeshore Corridor. It's Culver's front porch. It's where Academy parents and people oftentimes first come into Culver, experience it. It's where our community and our public goes to relax during the summer. It just has that comfortable feel to it. Our front porch is in need of repair. It needs to be revised without losing that sense of public gathering, of sitting out in the evenings on it. So I'm excited, but it needs a professional touch to it. This type of planning and this type of coordination needs a professional company dedicated to it in order to not only design it, but also see the project through. That takes a very unique company. Writing the RFQ, and that by the way, request for qualifications. I want to find qualified people. Sometimes the cheapest isn't the best, right? You get what you pay for, the old adage my grandfather taught me. We're looking for somebody who can actually do this project right, because like I said, I think this is these two spaces, both downtown and Lakeshore, are it's what defines Culver in so many ways. And getting them right, getting thoughtful planning, and getting public input into that planning is key. So with that in mind, we have the RFQ. I'm going to let it pass through some editing, and then I want to go public with it because it is a public document, and we will be putting it out for bid. We're going to be looking for people to come in, do quotes. I have at least 2 or 3 companies. You've been around this 3 years now. I know who can do this and who can't, so we're not going to waste time. We're going to get it into some hands that are qualified, and I'm confident I can think of a really good choice. And I think we're going to be able to move forward on the project rather quickly. The intent here is not to design something instantly and throw it in the shovels into the ground. The idea is here to design something, first and foremost, to be able to vet it, to make sure it's what we want, to make adjustments on it, to allow the public to interact with it for an incubation period. The second thing I think is important is once we get a design is to stop and pause and think about how that integrates into the larger master plan, both comprehensive plan, as well as how does it coordinate with retail strategies, and how does it coordinate with what we see for a 5 to 10 year future of Culver. And once we've been able to do that, and that could be 1.5 to 2 years, I think then we're going to have the confidence to be able to move into the ground for construction. How that's implemented, I'm not sure. If we go, it's going to be a very sensitive thing, as you can imagine. That area is, you got to time that right, and you don't have a long time to cook the eggs. You got to get them going and get out. So I'm eager to hear that, but stage 1 is to get that RFQ out there, their qualification request, and we'll get the edits back. But I'd like to have that out by September, and looking for results in October. Hopefully in October's meeting, we'll be able to report that we've contracted with a firm. It should be a short courtship. There's not too many companies who can pull off what we're asking. So it should be a pretty quick decision, and we'll be out and design. And I'll be looking forward to updating over the next 6 months or so on how that design update's going.
Any questions for Kevin? Thoughts?
What's that?
Very clear.
Try to talk slower too. Yes,
When
you're
you're
gonna-
finished with the RFQ, send it.
Yes, I will. I'm getting the edits first, and then I'm gonna send it for your feedback, Sally, before I put it in. Yes, I will. I just got the first draft out and.
Yeah.
But yes, Sally, of course I will. Sorry. Since your name's on it as redevelopment commission, you bet I will for.
Thank you. Commissioners, we'll see.
It was very similar to what I presented the first time, but it's got a few changes. Thank you.
Culver Park update is next. This is rapidly becoming the town manager report. by the
Yeah,
way.
I know, really. Seriously, spotlight me, baby. I'm excited. We are out to bid on, we're getting quotes, 3 quotes on a paving project out there. We're gonna pave that limestone. If you ever been out to Cavalier Park out by the high school, that limestone trail that goes around, that was part of the Stellars project, which was nice. We're thinking it's time to build on that. We're gonna cut a 5-foot pavement path out there and make a nice, it's about a quarter mile all the way around there. It's a really nice walking surface. If you go out there at night, it's quite tranquil. I'm not kidding. It was my wife and I and my little Havanese dog were communing with each other, walking down the path. I looked out at the soccer fields out there, and there are a family of turkey, a hen and 5 little ones. And there are 2 baby deers running, 2 little spotted fawns running out. It looked like a Bambi scene, like my sheets when I was 6.
Playing soccer.
Yeah, playing soccer, of course. Yeah, it was beautiful. And I thought, this is just so nice. We just planted trees out there. There is, that is part of it. We're going to be looking to pave that in the fall this year and have that ready to go before the end of fall. I see Tom in the audience.
Yeah, we asked Tom to come and
Yeah,
update us on
and
pickleball.
I'm gonna turn it over because Tom's leading the charge on putting some pickleball courts out there. This is the craze. All the teenagers are doing it. And
Us old people.
well,
It's the old people that are.
young at heart, Tom. Young at heart.
So.
yeah.
So this is Tom Uhas for the
I'm
record.
sorry, Tom Uhas, 430 State Street, Culver. I talked to a lot of stakeholders, I guess is the word tonight. I've talked to Marty, I've talked to Kevin, I've talked to Karen, I've talked to treasurer people at Argus. I just got off the phone with Bremen. I've talked to Collins CMD, and I'm just trying to gather information that I can. One of the things that I found is the only place around here that doesn't have a pickleball court is Culver. They've got them in Argus, they've got them in Plymouth, they've got them in Valpo, they got them in Winnemucca, they got them in Bremen, and they got them in Walkerton.
Knox.
And Knox, and now at the Dunes. We've got them close, but until Kevin buys a condo over there and I become his friend, I can't play there. So what do you need to buy a condo over there? So anyway, I spoke with Superintendent Schuman the other day, because come to find out, one of the things that nobody really had an answer for was who owns that property. And the school district does own the property, but apparently there's some type, and I'm not going to use the right term, some type of mutual agreement between the town and the school that was necessary to have it qualify as a stellar project, where the town, I think, is quote unquote responsible for the maintenance. Okay, so I guess that's where we're coming in and going to do this paving project. Is going to be more of a town, or maybe it's redevelopment, but still, it's not the school funds that are paying for the paving. But Karen was very, she didn't like your nuts. I mean, she told me that, we've even had discussions. So that's one of the things that I wonder is there possibly a collaboration between the school, redevelopment, and the town to put this thing together? Because I think it would benefit all three entities. The school could get involved in it. They could have it as something extracurricular activity. They could develop a team, a club, a league, whatever you want to call it. You could have a pickleball tournament like they're having next weekend up at Blueberry Fest. It's drawn tons of people to come in. You could do that here at Lake Fest. You could have a pickleball tournament like we have basketball stuff going on. So I think there's some things that would benefit not only just the school, but the town, and consequently fit in with the mission statement of Redevelopment Commission. So bottom line is, when you kind of get into the nitty gritty of this, is it just kind of depends on what type of surface you want to build on these things. And that depends, that's going to make the price go up or down on it. Currently, what we have at the park that we're playing on, I'm calling it a jigsaw puzzle of plastic pieces that are put together. Okay. The problem with that is and it's laid over the old concrete basketball court. So if you've got any undulation or anything that's not perfectly flat, you've got this 1 foot tile sitting and it doesn't have as hard substance. When the ball hits it, instead of it bouncing back, it just hits and dies. So it's not giving you a true play. So what I have found, that's what Argus has. Argus has, it's called a sport court. And the guy from Sport Court's all over me. I mean, he's calling me every week. You know, you met with the town yet and all this stuff. And I just talked to him again today. And I do have some numbers from them and a couple other places. But between you and me, we don't want to do a sport court, because the people at Argus, the lady at Argus, the treasurer clerk at Argus said, the hardcore pickleball players from Plymouth won't even come down here because they hate playing on this surface. What Plymouth has is basically, it may have been reconfigured tennis courts. I'm not real sure of that, but I believe it's an asphalt or possibly concrete base that's been painted over with almost like a maybe 1/8 inch type of coating on it, that they incorporate a little bit of grit into it so it's not as slippery. And then it's usually, if you've seen the ones over at the dunes, they're beautiful. You know, it's green and then they got white lines painted, and I mean, it just stands out. The question there is, since we're going to be starting from scratch over at Cavalier Park, we're putting it on dirt. So obviously, we're either going to build a concrete base or we're going to build an asphalt base, which is then going to get this coating over the top of it. Concrete is probably more expensive. However, concrete is also going to be less maintenance down the road. You do asphalt, it's going to be like your asphalt driveway, where you're going to periodically have to go in and reseal it, possibly then repaint it, and this sort of thing. Now, getting into it really deep, there's 2 types of concrete. There's concrete like you get on your sidewalk. Then there's what's called post-tension concrete. And that's very interesting, because what they do, they pour the concrete, they come back 3 days later, they have put in not rebar, the mesh work that's there, they have put in basically tubes or pipes in there that they stretch at either end, 30,000 PSI, and it actually stretches that concrete a little bit. So it's now putting some compression on it. It prevents it from cracking. They do that at day 3 because the concrete's not completely set yet. Then they come back at a week and they do it a second time. This is what they use in parking garages. If you've ever noticed a parking garage, there's not cracks in it because they do this post-tension concrete technique. But that's kind of, in my opinion, that's overkill, because to do it, you're almost doubling the cost because of the amount of labor in it. So if I have input into this, I would say concrete's the way to go, just from a maintenance standpoint. If it gets me through 10 years, then I'll be dead and I don't care. You guys can deal with it.
Let's hope not, but okay.
So, or I might not be able to play pickleball anymore because I blew my knee out playing pickleball. So anyway, where we're at with this, the most recent one I just got, Bremen did it 2 years ago, and they put in 6 courts, and the total that they spent was right around 300 grand. It was 294. So if you do 300 divided by 6, that's 50 grand a court. The way this works, though, obviously it's like buying anything. The more you buy, the less per unit it goes down. So I think that 50,000 a court, and I would think we're going to do a minimum of 2. I'm going to push for 4. But if you do 2, I think probably even 100,000 is really not a realistic figure when we're starting from scratch. If we had a tennis court that we could recondition, We've already got the foundation. All you got to do is clean up the foundation, paint it, put your holes in, and, you know, Bob's your uncle, you're ready to go. So we don't have that situation because we don't even have a tennis court, a public tennis court in town. So we're starting from scratch. If we're going to start from scratch, my suggestion is you go concrete. The gentleman over at the sport court one, which is the plastic type thing that would be like at Argus or like we have at the basketball court. That guy for 2 courts was quoting 128,000. So he was like 60-some thousand, and that's for plastic. So that's putting plastic over a concrete base. All right. Which I don't want to do, but that's to give you an idea. It's not, you're not saving a whole lot of money because you got to do the base anyway. Now, when I talk about these numbers, most everything has been quoted with like a 6 or a 10-foot fence around it. It includes the net, includes the painting, includes the striping. Now, sometimes I've even seen it like up in Plymouth, in between, they've got 6 courts. So they've got 2, 2, and 2, and each court is divided by a fence so that if a ball gets by a guy, it's not going to roll into the court behind him. Or if it goes off to the side, it's going to hit the fence. So it's segregated. It's not a 10-foot fence, but it's a 4-foot high fence. And that's probably a good idea, especially the fence around it. Okay. Interesting thing with Bremen, they said we did not even want to consider lighting because we don't want people playing at night because they were kind of surrounded by a residential area, which is a consideration here. If you say, oh, let's throw some lights out there, probably not a good idea because Don Klein's going to be calling you that this guy Uhouse is out here banging the ball away at 2 o'clock in the morning because he can't sleep. So that's probably a good thing. Okay. The other one, and possibly Kevin, you heard from a gentleman by the name of Brad West with Burn and West or Burn and Jones. I gave him your contact for paving because this Burn and West they do it from soup to nuts. They come in, Karen, you're familiar with that name. They come in, they do the excavation, they do the gravel foundation, they pour the concrete, and they'll do asphalt or they'll do this post-tension concrete for us. For him, the asphalt one was 183. So again, we're for that one, that's doing everything, including fencing. But if you did 4, it was 243. So it's like 60 grand more to get 2 more courts. So if you do 243,000 divided by 4, now you're down to more that 60,000 per court, which I think is a more realistic number. So that's kind of where I'm at. I've talked to, I think his last name is Borg with Redevelopment with Al Collins, a CMD. He's the purchasing manager up there. And I tried to get a number out of Collins as to what they paid to do this because they did all of it themselves. They did not hire a pickleball company to come in. They did the flat work. They put the coating, they painted it, they put the nets, they put the fence. He didn't have a hard number for me, and I just talked to him again this afternoon. And then I said, well, if it gets to that point, would Collins be willing to come in and bid it? Well, we're really busy. And I go, no, you guys are really busy, but this is the town. This isn't going to happen until next year anyway. Get me on the agenda for a bid. It's not going to happen next week. So I know how this goes.
Well, you come in here with such flimsy stuff, Tom.
Yeah.
I mean.
So anyway, so I've reached out to a number of people. I think if you said, hey, get me some hard bids, I think I can get you some bids pretty quickly and go from there. But the other thing is that came up with Bremen. Bremen was the one that was about 300 grand, 294. They got money from a Ready grant. My understanding, I think from Ginny at last meeting, and I don't understand the Ready grant concept or the process, but if you do a Ready grant, now we may have to go in and do re-engineering again. I'm not sure about that.
No, I'm sure about that.
I'm sure.
We would have to do it. Okay. But apparently with the engineering that was done with the Stellar project and the original Cavalier Park, we don't have to do engineering if we don't do a Ready grant. Is that
If
correct?
there's no federal money involved, Tom, then there won't need to be. We got geotechnical stuff from that.
Yep.
Okay.
The original one.
Okay. So that was one. So they got money from a Ready grant from the town. And then they have a pickleball club in Bremen that has been playing on the tennis courts for years. And they said, we want our own courts. Guess how much money they got from their pickleball league? How much?
200,000.
Well, that's a lot of people. They got 60 grand from this league. I said, well, we might put in $1,000. We've paid $1,000 to the park so far to play there, and this isn't the place to say, but we haven't got anything out of it other than the nets. We were supposed to get shirts and trophies, and it hasn't worked out. So that's why we're trying to pursue other avenues. So that's kind of where I'm at with this is that, you know, I got some names, and, you know, I'm willing to, because I got nothing else to do in my life. I'll be willing to take kind of this, as I've done now, is take the lead on this and try to follow up on it. So, you know, that's where we're at. If you've got any questions or comments, I mean, it sounds like everybody's kind of on board that they'd like to do this. And whether or not it could be, Karen, you're the one that, I mean, has this been a school board topic?
It has not been a topic at the school board, but we have talked about how we best use the park and how we greater use the park. And there's other organizations that have come and said, hey, can we do this at the park? Can we do this? So there's a desire for things to be there at the park, but as a school corporation, we haven't done any more to it than just maintaining the mowing.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I didn't know if it was to the point where the school board was thinking of, you know, we want to put something there. We want to put tennis courts or pickleball courts, or we want to put a building in there. We want to do whatever. I mean, it would be nice, like I say, if we could kind of a collaborative effort and take some of the stress off everybody and split it 3 ways. So anyway, that's kind of my thought.
Where would we go from here now to make it happen? To determine if it can happen, right? I think no one is saying, no, this is a really bad idea, you know, that I've talked to.
Well, the first thing I think, if Tom gives me the specifications, what we want to do is probably, at that purchase price, we're gonna have to probably, with procurement laws and with redevelopment, we would have to put in for probably looking at, if we go with some of the numbers he's saying, probably sealed bid on that. Putting it out, taking some of the specifications, Tom and I could coordinate, I could get the specifications of some of the things. No offense, we're not gonna do the high tension concrete, and I agree with you. And you know that, that's overkill for sure, but get what we want, put it on to, put it out, request for the quotes and seal bid. We'll put them out there with names. Tom's been pretty good doing the footwork on that. So have a good list of people that we can put in for a competitive quote. And then what they'll do is we'll get those quotes back at a deadline. Like Tom said, maybe in the spring. I'll present that to redevelopment and then you make a decision on that.
Would the process would seem to need to include the school board and an inquiry as to whether the school would be able to make any kind of financial contribution to it.
Well, and allow us to put it on their property.
Right.
More than likely, once that happens, if everybody's in agreement, there would have to probably, and it wouldn't be a bad idea to revisit and redo the MOU out there, and kind of rebolster it, in terms of responsibilities, determinations, and we would probably want to do that first, right, Karen?
Yeah.
Before we went out to bid.
Before we went out to bid, yeah, absolutely.
I was trying to remember what it was saying. I'm pretty sure it's just under the context of we as a school corporation, yes, say this will be a park forevermore in a sense, and how we choose to make it a park is a cooperative decision. That's my,
And yet you cannot find I cannot find a document that specifically states that.
you know,
Like,
I got
she blew me off, Doc. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I think, Marty, that would probably be the best way.
Is there a connection to the educational commission? You know, pickleball courts.
There are, I mean, anything, physical
Athletic.
activity wise, or you know, it can even fall under student wellness.
Yeah.
So, and it's an up
And
and
do
coming.
you see the schools utilizing it?
Yeah.
I guess is my question.
Well, I know we even talked about it being put on our current basketball court in the back.
Well,
behind
that's
the
a
school.
whole nother discussion I want to have with you later on.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah,
But I don't know how level it is either, because that was just done by a paving company, not a.
it's just it's good enough for our quality of play. Believe me. It's better than what we've got.
But that would also kind of be a tournament kind of concept too, of having more places to play and.
Yeah.
That kind of concept. I did kind of leaned over to Kevin, like, where was the tennis courts at the high school back in the day? And are they buried somewhere?
Were there tennis courts?
Well, if anybody knows, Sally, who's a resident
do.
historian.
I believe they're under the practice soccer field, the grass field. No?
For the love of me, I remember they had them, but
They were at the West End of the park.
West end of the parking lot. So where the soccer field currently is?
I think so.
Well, we're not digging that up.
that beauty, yeah.
It was literally right at the west end, just north of the football field.
Yeah, northwest, yeah, the parking, yeah, on the corner.
So where our concession stands.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, if I could find those,
Here's a shovel.
here's a shovel. But no, now that I know that there's potentially.
You know, no.
Yeah.
Just brand.
Ground penetrating radar, it's fun.
But I do think it would be a great asset to that part. How much the school could contribute towards it, I don't know. We are at this time.
There, what Jenny had mentioned, a patronicity approach too is a possible, funding mechanism.
What kind of approach?
Basically crowdfunding,
Oh.
where you go to the
Like we did for the amphitheater.
citizens and say, would you contribute? Right?
Okay.
And then we would like do a match, right? For every dollar that the citizen does, the CRC would match or something like that. We could consider an approach like that.
Does this make any sense to present it in front of town council, or is this kind of the way you see it right now? Marty, is it kind of just I mean, are you comfortable having this type of project under a redevelopment project?
Yeah, yes to both, actually. The more the town council is advised of these things, I think the better the chances are that the project happens. Having said that, would this be within the boundaries of the spending plan that we presented and had approved by the town council? Yes, it already is. So we don't need to go and ask for a different appropriation. It would be within the spending plan. But it just as a matter of courtesy, if nothing else, I would very much want the town council to be supportive of the project before we move forward. Because they appoint us.
I understand.
And before we spend
And it's only for a
$250,000,
year.
we
Yeah,
probably,
and it's only
would
for a
want to
year.
make sure
You
they're
get
they're
Appointed.
cool.
Yeah.
And they improved my job, so.
Yeah, that's.
Hey,
What kind of footprint are you talking?
Well,
Yes.
these actually have a square footage as to how much concrete these were. I mean, a pickleball court's 44 feet by 20 feet wide. So I think,
And then the fence is another,
I think they go 5 feet out. So they're quoting 64 by 64. That is, I had whatever 64, it's 4,096 square feet. And I
For
believe
two
that's for
courts?
two.
That's for two.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's around 4,100 square feet pad that would be out there. So 64 by 64, if you can kind of envision that.
About 3/4 of an acre, said the farm kid, I think, or close to.
Oh, no. No, an acre's like 39,000 square. This, what is it?
43,560.
Okay, Kevin,
What did
43,000.
you say? How
I-
much square footage?
I said,
43,560 is.
Yeah,
It's an
well, I'm
acre.
sorry, I thought he said 40-some thousand.
no,
What did
I
you say?
said 4,000.
Oh, gosh, no, oh, no, sorry, my bad,
4,000 square feet for two courts.
Two court, 49, yeah, 4,100.
my bad.
41.
That's all right.
I thought you
That's
said
not an
40,
acre.
I apologize, Tom, I was like, that's pretty big, but okay, an acre. So you don't want an acre from here?
Well, I'll take an acre if you're gonna do it. We're gonna have the
Okay.
Midwest Pickleball Tournament here in downtown Culver. is gonna come and see our beautiful front porch.
Or about a half.
Well, what I've heard is that there's an MOU to go over and there's a school board to talk to, as at
Yeah.
least those are two next steps.
Okay,
I don't want to overcomplicate it with organizing committees or anything like that, but Tom, if you feel you need help, and you want to ask some people that will join you,
well,
And was your timeline fall, spring, summer?
for this project,
Yeah. Or did you
Wait.
have,
I don't have, I figure it's gonna be next year, just
Okay.
because the way, again, I
Okay.
think the thing that you and I are talking about could be as soon as I can get the insurance part figured out. But to do a build where we've got to do all this other stuff and get sealed bids and yada, yada, that's gonna take some time. And I understand that. That's why I'm not, that I'm being realistic, that I'm
Yeah.
thinking maybe next spring.
Kevin, what's ideal from a timing standpoint in your mind?
I don't think you're gonna get this fall with what you need to do, but so
No.
I'm thinking probably in the spring sometime,
Yeah.
April, May.
Yeah.
Would be the best time to do it, particularly if you're gonna try, I think it's worth considering the asphalt. Because if you're doing other asphalt work, they can come in and do that. And Tom's concerned about the breaking up. There's not gonna be vehicle traffic on it, and it's gonna
That's
be
true.
painted and sealed on top when you put the striping and everything
Yeah.
there, so. Asphalt would be worth considering, and they are usually less busy in spring than they are.
That's
in
right.
other major.
The mills are just kicking on and they're in their planning phase.
The other consideration is the configuration. If you're talking four courts, are you gonna make a big rectangle, or are you gonna make a long rectangle with all of them lined up? Or-
That I don't know, because I'm not sure of the topography of where we're gonna put this, where I'm envisioning it to be kind of like, what would that be? That would be kind of in line with the bathroom and the tunnel that go kind of down by the houses, because the north end seems to be your soccer fields, right? So I think it's gonna be more to the south end of the park. That's where I'm envisioning. Now, how far it would be east to west, I don't know.
You got,
Well, that
And,
falls into
there's that drainage, there's like
swale.
a swale, there's
They
like
got
a
a
retention
retention,
pond
they got retention.
that drains the parking lot. So obviously we're not going there, so it would have to be beyond that.
The other
Yeah.
factor is Karen said other people were approaching about possibly using it, so what is the best way to configure it so there's additional space or expansion space if this becomes a success and you want 8 because there's going to be tournaments.
Yeah.
So you want to kind of do some long-term planning on the entire property before you pop it down in one spot.
Well, and that's where letting the school board know if
Exactly.
they've got something in their mind down the road as to what they'd like to do on that property. That's why they need to be aware of it. Because if they're thinking, yeah, we wanted to put something there 5 years down the road, now we got this pickleball court in the middle of it. So, yeah, but that's why I think we need to kind of have everybody on board with it.
If you're seriously talking about tournaments, also, you need some place to put some bleachers or something for people to watch. So
Well,
that's a little bit. of
I
extra.
think if just even having benches set up from the very get-go that are maybe even embedded in the concrete or the asphalt or whatever we're using, and maybe having even like a round table that you could that you could throw an umbrella in during the months where you could use an umbrella. I mean, that's one thing that we enjoy where we're at the park now. We've got a couple benches to at least sit on, or we'll pull a picnic table over, because you've got people that are waiting to play the next game, or we have people come down and watch us. I mean, it's been pretty cool. So, it definitely seating is important, but I don't think we're to the part where we need stadium bleachers yet, because,
I'm just thinking planning for the future.
yeah,
Yeah.
As part of your space configuration, you don't have to put it in now, but you need to plan for the potential.
If you go that far, yeah.
Potential.
So if you build 4, where would you put 4 more if you want to do, right? Where
Or
would
if you do the
put
league test
bleachers?
tournament like Tom was talking about, then there would be multiple teams waiting to play.
Yeah.
So some kind of seating area. It would also play in with the schools, what is it, first Mondays or whatever the food truck thing is.
First,
Because right now, there's not really space for people to sit and stuff. So like Tom's talking about, that if they're in a like little plaza to go along with it, it has a multi-purpose use at that point.
You drafted to the committee. Yeah.
as always?
as always, yeah. Aren't you glad you don't?
When will you ever stop chirping, little bird?
I got asked.
You could have said no comment.
Gee, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, great. We got a lot to go on. Thank you, Tom, for all your work. on
Thank
this.
you.
Really appreciate it.
I'll touch base with the town.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so any additional thoughts on that topic? Then let's, any new business? I had none coming into the meeting. The last minute. Okay. Any additional updates, town manager?
Yes. A while back, I think last month, last month, we were approached town council during the meeting about some concern about the sidewalks up on Main Street between Madison and Jefferson Street. That brickwork has become a concern. There's embedded brick within the sidewalks. If you've ever been up there all the way across the library, some of that brick is settled. And it's a couple chipped it, and some of the merchants have voiced concern about it. At that point, council authorized us to go out and take a look for solutions. Resetting those bricks seemed to be the most cost efficient way of doing it. And anything other than that would require some serious engineering changes, and we just aren't there yet. So Bob Porter asked for some quotes. We only had two, as you can imagine, not a lot of companies lined up to do brickwork anymore. So we had two companies respond. I won't read the amounts aloud, but the most reasonable proposal that was responded and probably most cost effective came from Sellers. The details are they're going to grade, prep the whole site, pull out the bricks. Now, this isn't pulling out every brick, it's pulling out the areas that have been settled and repairing them. Rather than just focus on one area, we asked them to do 2 blocks, both sides of the street from Madison to Jefferson, where those bricks are located. The amount that they sent me quote wise was significantly lower than the alternative. And for some reason, I did not print out the page, but it was 13,000. I can't do the math really quick, but there it is, $30,910 for the complete work. That includes cleaning up, power washing the sidewalks, setting the bricks, making sure they're in place. And like I said, I want to reserve the right for the other quote, but I would say that was approximately half of the alternative quote. We couldn't get a third respondent on it. There's just not a lot of companies in the area, to do that work. Wasn't planning on introducing this tonight, but I thought, and again, I hadn't made it known to the redevelopment, but I was wondering if this is something that would fall under redevelopment's purview first and foremost, and if they'd be willing to provide the money for the quote. And again, we don't have to have an action item tonight. I could wait till next month's meeting. I just wanted to introduce that if you prefer. It's good for over 30 days on that, so they'll extend it for me. I just need a call.
There's, did the town council ask you to approach the CRC for?
They did
Funding
not.
for
They
this?
did not. I'm doing this in reverse order,
Does it,
given the nature of it.
it seems to me that, you know, there's public safety, the way you described it, right? There's
Yes.
a public safety issue and there is a aesthetics issue that would benefit the businesses. So I think it's foursquare within, you know, what we could use TIP money for.
Agreed, and given the business nature of it, I mean, the sector of the area.
Right.
the
Right.
business
It's
is-
in the TIP zone, right?
I was going to approach council about it, but I was thinking similar to you after some discussions and thought maybe this is something I would approach you with. Again, I don't ask for action tonight. I just wanted your consideration on it to see if this is something that would be, that I'd be happy to go back to council with.
We do facade grades at 30,000, right?
Yeah.
You know, so it's just another facade grade as far as I'm concerned, only it's on the ground. Right. Yeah.
Thank you, Marty.
You know,
It's a linear.
a linear facade.
A linear
right?
facade grant, okay.
I mean, I don't want to jump up and say, hey, you know, I'm anxious to spend $30,000, but I mean, it does fit with what we do. And I don't know that we need to job on it a whole lot. If you guys have any hesitation in moving forward, if not, why don't we just entertain a motion and move on it?
I'll make a motion.
All right. Move to approve the the bid as recommended. It's been vetted by Porter, right?
Yes.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Sally. Or motion by Jared, right? And a second by Sally. All in favor, indicate by, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Let's fix that safety issue sooner as opposed to later, okay?
No, Marty, and I appreciate it. I didn't want to drop it on you guys without preparation, but I thought this is maybe something that would fall under the purview. So thanks for entertaining and taking care of it. Other than that, I'm actively looking, tis the season and our Christmas contract is up. I'm feeling under the gun in August already. That's right, August. I've got 2 or 3 companies, just because the contract's up. It's not that we're unhappy, but I think it's just good form to go out and get some quotes and keep everybody in line. I'd like to be able to get those quotes for the next meeting, and I'll have the information.
You mean the lighting?
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
Christmas, for the portals and for the,
Yeah, I'd love that
yeah.
because
Well,
it hasn't worked as well as the process hasn't been that good over the last couple of years. in my mind.
it hasn't, and we were locked into a contract, and we may maybe up the cost or contribution to it, but I think lights create comfort in the winter, right? And I think just having that feeling and maybe a couple of things in the park on the ground. It's funny, when they talked about winter, I kept thinking.
Cozy up Culver.
Cozy up Culver, and I thought fire and lights, nothing makes the warmth of a fire and lights, it's just beautiful. So I'll get some ideas and present to the redevelopment here next month.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
you good?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Kevin, for that. Much appreciated. Public input. Karen, tell us who you are for the record.
Gary Chesaling, 520 South Plymouth Street. Kevin, under the master plan, you discussed, you mentioned the front porch, the beach area part, and desire to really bring some further vitality into it. As you do that, or as it's focused on, doesn't that take away, as you make the park and the beach area more sexy, more desirable, what do we do to make the rest of Culver's downtown area equally desirable or equitably desirable?
Yeah, it's a good question, Gary. I think that you build both. It's having children. Now, I'm not trying to say that they're my children or anything else, but each child is unique. Finding their identity and enhancing that rather than trying to compare them to each other and have them in competition is important. How do they come together to complement each other? Our downtown and our lakeshore have different identities, although they have connections. The history of Culver connects the two, right? I think more than anything, they're connected by the lake if we choose to see it. But their identity is different in a way. I find, and this is me, and I've heard this resonate with public input. There is something comfortable about our downtown, but that comfort comes from the historical rooting and the recognition of our tradition as a small town in that area of the downtown. The way that the shops look, the way that people interact at Cafe Max, the way that Academy people come back to ground themselves in that area. Some of the shopping that goes on, the way that the old hardware has evolved into these different entities that still bring people together, but there's so much eclectic stuff in it. That's an identity, and I'm not sure we've always complimented it or enhanced it or recognized it as much. I think it's much more about recognition, Carrie. What we have to do at Lakeshore is to understand that as a front porch, and I think it's key. Front porch lets you into something bigger, a house, something more. It's the way people enter into Culver, but Culver is more than just that area. I think a flow, a place to gather, the park, you have to build that as well, and trying to do both at the same time to complement each other. And that's one of the things I mentioned. That's why I think it's valuable to have that Lakeshore plan in hand with retail strategies and find that harmony before you start going. And today during retail strategy, they recognize the importance of Lakeshore, and several of the several of the initiatives overlap on both. So I think, to your point, Carrie, it's being mindful of it. Being mindful that they both have identities, they both have value to Culver, and you have to recognize it and enhance that.
But you want those people that visit Culver and enjoy the park and the beach area to also want to move further.
That's it. And some of the things they talked about today, and I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, so don't get me. But a good deal of the conversation today was about that connection, about how to move and how to efficiently move people in a simplistic way between those identities. But I appreciate it, and we'll reveal it, and I hope to hear your input on it after we do.
Sure.
Lights
Thank
and
you.
fire.
Yeah, there's some pretty cool ideas on exactly that.
Yep.
Can I make a guess?
It's lights and fire.
Tom, you've had your 32 minutes. I'm kidding.
An elevated monorail.
Tom, I'll tell you what, between that and your pickleballs, you're gonna be holding a lot of bake sales before the spring.
Well, we used to have the train go that way.
I love it.
Gonna put the tracks back in.
Love it.
Don't kid yourself. I looked into one of those little 3-car, trains that you drive on the road.
Oh, yeah.
I think that'd be awesome, but call it the Vandalia Express and away we go. But nope, I got shot down. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
Okay.
I had a second part of that, if I could, real quick. And that's, as you mentioned, wayfinding, and you might want to migrate that from the street to the sidewalks. What happens to the street stuff? Because that's sort of a bone of contention right now. It's deteriorating. It's going
Right.
up.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you just leave it there and let it decay.
I would think not.
Yeah.
Into that level of detail.
Mark,
But
what do you mean by street? I'm sorry.
the current
The
wayfinding
circle
that's in
thing.
the street.
Oh,
But
yeah,
what-
sorry.
What the consultant said is that the color scheme, the directional arrows, and great idea. But it would have been better executed if it was geared toward pedestrians rather than automobiles. Especially having cars run over it, right? And the paint, can't stand up to that. So taking a lot of the cues that we give for the cars, we have signs that say, it's a X minute walk to downtown, those things, and putting them in a better place and then making them coordinate with each other.
There's the visual cue too, to be able to move people on roads, the visual cue has to be elevated. It has to be a vertical cue rather than on the ground. And simple things like the light post, believe it or not, the banners, right? The banners, they celebrated that when we put those into play. Those are simple little visual cues, anything that can help. And well, I'm not gonna go any further because I'm gonna wait.
Oh, yeah.
But my point is that as it deteriorates, it's an eyesore.
Yeah.
And unless the city, and Kevin knows my affinity towards paint, as a city moves to a different option, you need to address.
I'm sure Jerry can throw some asphalt seal over it.
Just so it's not
Yeah.
an eyesore
Yeah.
as a reminder of something that.
All right, Karen. Thank you. You had
Hi,
something?
Ginger Burgess, 232 South Main. I've kind of observed between Lake Shore and downtown on Main Street with that new, what's it called, the Good News Coffee Trailers,
Mhm.
that is bringing people down and they are actually seeing that there's something down on Main Street. So if we could get a little bit more going that way, it would bring them around the corner. And that's what I've observed, because I see more and more people at the Good News Trail.
Ginger gets around.
Yeah, the consultant may want to offer you a job.
Yeah.
As a consultant,
You,
spend
Okay,
a little bit of time saying,
Oh, no, she wants money.
telling us how important that corner was and
it's
what
the pivot.
ideas.
It's the pivot.
Yeah,
It's the pivot. And you're right.
That's the way I see it.
yeah, yeah.
The way
And
they
there's
see it. And
There's some pretty cool ideas
Yeah.
what you can do in that corner that would help do exactly what you're
Because
suggesting.
otherwise, they're either way down there. We used to bring our boat here. We never came to this part of the town on Lake Shore. We always were down on Main Street. Because we came in on 14, because half the time 8 was closed. We'd come in, put our boat in and leave. And one time we came through town, I believe it was Lake Fest, I thought, there's another part of this town.
my God.
I was in shock. I
See,
didn't
but
know.
you got yours in reverse. You knew Main Street, you
Yeah,
didn't know
it
Lake
didn't know
Shore.
Lake
Shore.
Most people
Yeah.
coming in this way know Lake Shore, they
We
don't know
did, Because
downtown.
Friday was always closed, we had all the way down. But,
Any other public input? Okay. There's member input then. Jerry? Anything? Sally? Not by me, Karen.
I'm good.
You shot all your bullets, Karen. All right, nothing to do but adjourn at this point. Any motions to that effect? Motion to adjourn. All right, thank you, Sally.
I'll second.
Yeah, all right, we got a second as well. Thank you, or else we'd be here all night. All in favor? Aye. Okay, let's go home. Thank you.